Hello, this is Mike Swanson. I run the website WallStreetWindow, and it's time for some crypto straight talk. Look at my eyes. Notice that I don't have those Bitcoin eyes that you see so many of the Bitcoin gurus have. And that's because I'm not one of those people. I want to look at this market with clear eyes because how many times has we seen it run up and then completely crash? Now, I don't think it's about to crash right now. In fact, I think it can go up even more, which is great for people in it if it does that. But I think it's important to understand what caused those previous crashes and what really makes crypto go up. Because when the price goes up, as it's been doing the past couple months, what has been happening is what's happened in the previous price runs, and that is the crypto community has been flooded with disinformation, hype, and nonsense. And you see that from some of the crypto gurus with those flashy eyes. And let me address one subject with you, and that is the claim that they make that Bitcoin will one day replace the US dollar. They're telling you that Bitcoin is being used by central banks. They're preparing for the day in which Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will take over the world. Well, let's look at some of the facts of what is really going on here. So this is, I just typed in Bitcoin Guru a few moments ago on on YouTube, and this is what comes up. A live video by Michael Saylor telling people that Bitcoin's going to go up. The video says Bitcoin crash, but he's not telling you it's going to crash at all. He's telling you the exact opposite. And a video above that that was just posted an hour ago by some character. I don't know anything about him, but his name is Joe Burnett. And he's saying Bitcoin is not a cult. The dollar is a cult and you're in it. And that's what I want to talk about. This idea that Bitcoin is going to replace the US dollar one day. What you've got to understand is that central banks around the world have reserves. All of them hold US dollars. And then they hold bonds and other currencies as reserves. And they hold gold. So, as you probably know, the Chinese central bank, among others, have been buying gold over the past couple years. And they've been doing this while individual investors in the United States have actually been selling gold when they've been liquidating the GLD ETF that they own. And the GLDs had to sell gold. So the selling of the masses over the past couple of years has not caused the price of gold to decline. In fact, gold just broke out to new all-time highs because central banks in the world, around the world, have been accumulating gold and putting it on their reserves. And here is a list of the reserves. The United States is holding 8,000 metric tons of gold. Germany, 3,000 metric tons. Italy, 2,000. All of it's listed right here. And what none of them are doing, though, is owning any Bitcoin. And none of them are buying Bitcoin. Think about that. What the Bitcoin gurus are telling you isn't right. They're not going to use Bitcoin. No central banks are using it now. They're not going to start using it. Now, there has been talk of among some individual central banks of creating a digital currency, but they're not talking about Bitcoin, and they're not talking about a global digital currency either. They're talking about creating their own digital currencies. So what does this mean? Well, here's the website of the Bank of England. See what it says about Bitcoin. Do a search on Bitcoin, and you'll see they're not planning on ever buying it, ever, ever. That doesn't mean Bitcoin's going to crash. It means what the Bitcoin gurus are telling you about it is not correct. What they are considering doing is creating a digital pound. And they talk about how the digital pound will actually work right on their website. And I'm linking to it in the description of this video. They're saying that it will be simply linked to the sterling. And the linkage to the sterling is not going to change. So when the sterling goes up, digital pound will go up. When sterling goes down, digital pound will go down. It'll be linked lock step with sterling. That's all it's going to be. And they will, if they create this, then they'll make the number of sterling or number of digital pounds will somehow be linked to the number of sterlings, I'm sure, that are being generated also. So it's just going to be an alternative thing for people to use, and they say they can use it in their digital wallets and so forth. Well, if this is what central banks are planning on doing, then the Chinese are talking about they may have a digital yuan. Possibly there'd be a digital dollar one day. It just won't really change much of anything if each of them is creating their own separate digital currency. It's just going to be really not a big, massive change in the way the global economic system is run. And if you look at what Bitcoin is really doing, its true nature, what makes Bitcoin go up and down? Once you think about that, everything becomes so clear. And you don't need these laser eyes to understand that. In fact, I would tell you that all these people with these laser eyes don't see what's going on because they're not telling you what's going on. And this chart shows you what's really happening with Bitcoin. This is the price of Bitcoin. And as you can see, it's gone up since September. Now, the indicator below it is a correlation indicator measuring the price relationship between Bitcoin and the US dollar index on a 200-day average price basis to smooth it out, to get rid of the short-term gyrations. And when this correlation is at 1, it means that Bitcoin is trading perfectly with the US dollar index. When the US dollar index goes up, Bitcoin goes up the same amount. It's a perfect price relationship, a linkage. So that idea of the digital pound would be linked to sterling would have a 1 right on it. Well, Bitcoin's not trading with the US dollar. When the US dollar goes up, Bitcoin's not going up. And I've got a chart of the US dollar index below. That's the one on the bottom. And you can see that when the dollar fell from October to New Year's, Bitcoin was going up, not down with the dollar at that time. But the funny thing about that is Bitcoin does not go up when the dollar goes down either. There's no real relationship there either, because if it was, the correlation indicator would be at -1. That move from October to January was simply a coincidence where Bitcoin went up and the dollar went down, just coincidental, because historically, and that's why the 200-day moving average or 200-day indicator makes this clear, there has been no relationship at all between the price movements of Bitcoin and the US dollar index. No correlation. There is between the dollar and the yen, the dollar and the pound, the dollar and the euro, the dollar and gold. But with the dollar and Bitcoin, absolutely no price correlation. In fact, it's close to 0 right now. None. So Bitcoin does not trade with the dollar up or down really at all. And that tells you something. Central banks are not buying Bitcoin with the idea that we need this in our reserves in case the dollar declines. They're doing that with gold. That's why they're increasing their reserve currencies in gold. Central banks around the world have been doing this. Not a single one is buying Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. They might issue their own, but they're not buying any of them because they're all useless for that. They're useless as a store of value or a hedge against the dollar. Doesn't mean they're completely useless. They have a use, but their use has nothing to do with the global Forex markets at all. And that's reality. That's not a prediction. That's not a claim of the future. That's what has been happening. And this chart mathematically shows you that this is mathematical reality. Everything the Bitcoin gurus say is proven false by this chart. And I point this out every couple of weeks and challenge the Bitcoin gurus. to come forward and prove me wrong, and not a single one of them has ever done it. I challenge you, Michael Saylor, prove this chart wrong, and you'll never do it because you can't. And that's true. That's real. Now, what's Bitcoin trade with? The closest correlation that Bitcoin has of anything that trades in all the world, other currencies, commodities, other markets, whatever, what it's most closely linked with is the price action in the Nasdaq 100. And here the correlation is 0.88. When the Nasdaq goes up, Bitcoin goes up. When the Nasdaq goes down, Bitcoin crashes. It's simply a way to play the market. When the market goes up, and up, as it's been doing, Bitcoin goes up, and faster, or at least it's done that since 2015. Why? Because when the markets get going and people get excited about trading, there's a portion of these traders that want to get on really volatile speculative positions, and that's what Bitcoin serves. Bitcoin serves as an instrument of pure financial speculation in the markets. It's not backed by anything. It represents no ownership in anything in the real world. It's not a store of value used by central banks as gold and silver are, or other reserve currencies are for that matter. And it's not like a stock. It represents ownership in nothing. It's a pure financial asset. And the wonder of that is it makes it so people make and are able to make all claims about it that sound believable, because it's a pure virtual, It's like the metaverse. Remember when metaverse was hyped up and people were saying this virtual real estate could go up in value and be worth something? Remember the virtual baseball cards, the virtual art that they said this virtual art, is unique. It can be worth $10 million. And for a couple months, people were trading it, making it go up, and now it's worth nothing. And no one will buy or sell it because the market for that really doesn't even exist. But for a while it did. For a while it was exciting because people could dream because it was all virtual. And now people can dream about Bitcoin and what they say it could become because it's a virtual asset. But mathematical history of the price charts I've showed you shows that the claims they make about it now have no basis in reality, and central banks are never going to accumulate Bitcoin or the other crypto coins that you can buy or sell now on Coinbase and these other exchanges. They'll make their own if they've decided to do that one day with the proposals they've created and have on hand to do so. So speculate in Bitcoin if you want to speculate on the price. And it is a good instrument of speculation when the trend is up and the trend has not broken yet. And that's good. It's a good reason to think it can go higher. But it's not a store of value. And it will crash one day when the Nasdaq goes down. No, I don't think that's starting at the moment, but there will eventually be another bear market in the stock market. And when that day comes, what will happen is money will flee out of speculative assets such as Bitcoin and other crypto coins and go into safe havens. And the simplest way to play that trade and benefit when that moment comes is to accumulate such safe haven assets now and think about things physical, things in the real world, the opposite of the virtual world. And there's nothing more simple that you can do now than buy physical gold and silver. This is 10 ounces of silver. It's worth approximately $250 as I'm doing this video. And you've seen the price of gold explode in value and break out to all new time highs when it breached the 2100 level just a few weeks ago. Silver has a similar price resistance point at $26. Has not broken out yet at the time of this video, but is likely to do so because historically the price of gold leads the price of silver. So silver stacking now ahead of that breakout is, I believe, a great profitable play to make for this year, and not just for this year, but for the years to come when the crypto market does malfunction and collapse, and silver will explode in value. So silver stack today for that day that will come tomorrow when there will be chaos in the crypto markets and other financial markets. And you want to be positioned at the time when that's happening, and you can position that now, make money now, and be safe and benefit from your safety when the chaos does come. And that is Crypto Straight Talk for today.